it for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro,
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Matt Ohayon with you on this Friday evening. Welcome to your weekend and welcome to the Sick Podcast. My guest today is my usual Friday guest. We're going to break down yesterday's loss. We're going to talk about what it means going forward with the Canadiens. We're also going to talk about the bump in the NHL salary cap that's going to be happening as soon as it's a little more than a bump, actually, that the NHL salary cap is going to be getting as soon as next year. But first, the SIG podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Energy Transportation Group is a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. Celebrate Super Bowl Sunday at Playground with a tailgate menu starting at 2 p.m. featuring game day classics like wings, burgers, loaded cheese fries, and their game-breaking fried basket. Enjoy $25 Heineken buckets and catch all the action on their huge screen. Kickoff is at 6:30 p.m. and don't miss the biggest football event of the year. Visit playground.ca for details. We're also brought to you by Bittt Tibi beer. Bittt Tibi has launched their new Ultra Lager, a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer perfect for those chilly winter days with only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% alcohol per can. Available in packs of 6 and 12 at grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. Ultra light, ultra refreshing. We're also brought to you by Betway. Go all the way with Betway and get a free bet up to $200 if your first bet loses. Scan the QR code on the screen or click the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. Offer is available only for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offer is not available in Ontario. You must be 18 years or older, and please play responsibly. All right, let's bring him in. Without further ado, Mr. Stu Cowan of the Montreal Gazette. How are we doing?
I'm doing really well. How about you?
Frankly, you know what? I'm a little pissed off. I'm a little pissed off, and I think you know why. The week the Canadiens had.
Yeah.
It pissed me off big time. And, you know, I'm someone who is, I'm not traditional media. I'm a podcaster. You know, Tony likes to call himself the voice of the fans. I'm a fan as well. And frankly, I found the last week, obviously most recently last night, just absolutely unacceptable. And you know what? I get it. They're tired, but you know what? The other team on the other side of the ice, they just came off 2 straight back-to-backs. They're tired too. And the other team, you know, they're coming in. They got just a grueling schedule as you. I don't care who it is. You know, these excuses of they're young, they're tired, they're this, they're that. It's getting really, really, it's getting on my nerves. And you know what got on my nerves the most is, you know what? I tweeted the other day, tongue-in-cheek a little bit after Tuesday's loss, that I tweeted a gravestone that said Canadiens playoff run, December 17th to January 28th. It was fun while it lasted. Bleep Ottawa. And, you know, it was a little tongue in cheek, but you know what? With their response to Caden Guhle's injury, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss.
That first period last night was so bad. And before the game started, my buddy and partner at the Gazette, Herb Zurkowski, said,
saw this tweet.
He says, I bet you Marc-Andre Fleury gets a 15-save shutout, and he's the first star tonight. And he had a 19-save shutout and was the first star. I told Herb, I said, when you're driving home tonight, stop off and buy a 649 ticket. But, you know, that first period was just, that was horrible. The only good part about the first period is it went by fast. There weren't too many whistles.
Yep.
The Habs weren't there. Like, whatever excuses they want to come up with, this team is out of gas. They really are. And Marty had said the day before, you know, we're just trying to survive the Four Nations face-off or whatever it's called break, and they're going to be out of the mix by the time they get there. The way they're going, they're just not playing well. They're just not showing up. I mean, they're giving up too many shots. They're not getting enough shots. They're starting to look lost a bit again in their own end. We're realizing just how important Emil Heineman was to this team. Like his loss, not too many teams lose a fourth line winger and it has that impact, but that wasn't really a fourth line with those three guys, right? That was the line that Marty saying we started a lot of games with. He used them against other teams' top offensive players sometimes. Huge loss. And I think the thing with Guhle, it was just, I think it really, they were down and they were running out of gas, and I think that really deflated them. He's one of the most popular guys on the team, one of the best players on the team, arguably the best defenseman on the team, all-around defenseman. What a freak injury. I mean, this kid, I mean, the day before training camp starts, emergency surgery to remove his appendix. And then, he's skating after a loose puck in the corner, seemed to catch a rut. Good on Tony. He was the first guy I saw who broke down the video and saw he cut himself with his own skate. Like, when does that ever happen? And it's just a fluke, freaky thing. And, they got too many guys that aren't doing anything. Patrick Laney's got 12 goals. He's got one even strength goal now in 23 games. Christian Dvorak's -5 the last 2 games, 1 goal in his last 15 games, still on the second power play unit. Brendan Gallagher, bless his heart, he's working his butt off out there, but it's just not happening for him. The first line last night didn't do much. I mean, there wasn't much. Jakob Dobish played well. He made some big saves, kept them in. But I mean, it was Marc-Andre Fleury net at the Bell Center. I mean, I've never seen an opposing player get that much recognition, and good on the fans who did give him the recognition he deserves. A local boy, 40 years old, first goal in the NHL to ever have a shutout as a teenager and as a 40-year-old. But it was an easy night for him. Herb was off by 4 shots.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And good on Marc-Andre Fleury from the hockey side of things. But you know what? That was kind of depends on how you want to look at it. Best case or worst case scenario for the Canadiens, for inside the locker room for the players, kind of best case scenario that happened, that it was Marc-Andre Fleury and his last start at the Bell Center, or what we think is his last start at the Bell Center, because that really, removed the pressure off. And, that was what all the focus was on, was a nice moment at the end of the game. But, maybe they need some more pressure. I don't know, because that was,
well, it helped because the fans were cheering him instead of booing them, right? There were some boo birds at the end of the second period in the upper deck at the Canadiens. But, at the end, it was everybody went home feeling good and happy, right? Because it was a feel-good story with Marc-Andre Fleury. I don't know Marc-Andre Fleury well. I've only interviewed him a couple of times. But from everything you hear, Marty St. Louis said the same thing. I don't know him that well. But everybody talks about what a great person he is. And Dobish, after the game last night, was talking about how during the pregame warm-up when he was doing his stretching around center ice, Fleury came over and talked to him a little bit. How's it going? Nice to see you're doing well. They had actually trained together last summer for a day on this. It was set up by the goalie coach in Laval. And after the game, Dobish picked up the puck, and he was hoping he'd give it to Fleury himself, but one of the Minnesota players skated down and took it and brought it to him. So it was interesting to talk with Dobish after the game and just how much he admires Fleury, how much he's, we asked him about the two-pad stack save that he made at one point, and Dobish said, I need to learn how to do that. I think it was Arpin Bassett from the Athletic said, no, you don't want to learn how to do that. They don't teach that anymore. But he said it's always something good to have in your toolbox. But, it was Marc-Andre Fleury last night at the Bell Center. Canes go on the road now to California, 3-game trip. They got a game when they come back. But the way things are now, it's a young team, and they just don't have the depth to survive injuries. And the injuries to Heineman and Guhle were just the team's already running out of gas, and that was just that's a blow I don't think they're going to be able to recover from.
What I really didn't like is that players, I don't care how significant they are to the team, players on every team get injured. As a professional hockey player, you've been on teams where,
and a lot of Canadiens players get injured over the years.
Yeah, well, that's true. Not this year though, but you're on teams through junior, through your time in the minors, professionals. Players get injured all the time, and
they just don't have the depth, though. I mean,
that's fine. That's fine. That's understandable. But to hear, I get it. They're a brotherhood in the locker room. They're very close. They're tight knit, tight group, and that's a good thing. But to kind of, you can't just let one injury to your team deflate your morale, because the responses I'm reading last night, and I'm seeing the clips of the post-game interviews, like, come on, man, you can't be this fragile as a team where one injury, okay, I understand it's going to lower the quality on the ice. There's no doubt about that. Caden Guhle is like you said, arguably, if not arguably, the best defenseman on the team. He's a minute eater. He's good on both sides of the puck. I get all that. But from a morale standpoint, for it to crush your room like that, and for you to come out with such a flat response
at home,
and that's been the name of the game. For how many times is it? Oh, the Canadiens came out flat, but they came back. Yeah. The Canadiens came out flat, and that was the story of the rest of the game. Flat.
Yep, and that's on Marty St. Louis too. The guys are flat. They keep falling behind 2-0, then they fight back. Third period last night, they finally found their legs a little bit, and then they give up another goal, and it was over. But they just, you can't just wait until you're down 2-0 and then decide you're going to start playing, and that's been happening way too often. And the thing, you talk about morale, morale's down, but it's just Marty had that ability to roll 4 lines behind him, and he hasn't been able to since. He's been double shifting other guys. And, they brought up Owen Beck. He played 2 games. They put Pizzetta back in. They call up Raphael Harvey-Pinard. Now they're sending him back down. They don't have the depth to survive injuries. And even injuries to Caden Guhle, one of their top defensemen, but like a 4th-line win, they just don't have the guys ready to come up yet. A couple of years from now, they should. These other guys develop, and they'll have some more depth and maybe be able to handle the injuries better. But they're a young team, and yes, they are. They do have a great they are a brotherhood. And they do like each other. Arbor Jack, I was talking about him and Pizzetta went over to Guhle's house Wednesday night, and Pizzetta made lasagna, and Guhle and Arbor picked up some steaks, and they went over and cleared out and gave them some supper. But they're just a young team, and a lot of younger guys. Lane Hudson's never played more than 39 games in a season, regular season. He's at 51 now. Is he running out of gas? He doesn't really look like it, but maybe mentally, it's a grind, right? And these guys are getting ground down, and even more so than that, it's the veteran guys. Like, they need more out of Line A. They need a lot more.
Big time.
You can't just be a power play specialist. They need more out of Christian Dvorak. Brendan Gallagher is giving everything he has. He's had a lot of good scoring chances the last few games. Just can't put the puck in the net.
And
and last night the first line wasn't doing anything. And if your first line isn't doing anything, this first line needs to carry this team, and they didn't carry them last night.
To pick up on that, and veterans they need more for, and I understand he's been kind of the whipping boy of the past 2-3 weeks, and really since the beginning of the season. And I'm not on the Mike Matheson's a bum, and he's this, he's that, he sucks, he's this. Not on that train. But on the train that I am on is that if you're going to eat 25 minutes a night, which they need him to.
Yeah, even more so now.
You got to give quality. You got to give quality. It's not, you're not a time filler, and that's not to single him out, but he's probably at this point now, because of Caden Guhle's injury, he's the most important player on that blue line. Yeah. And he's a veteran guy. He knows he's been there before. He's lived through all types of situations. He knows he's got to dig down deep and give a little more. And maybe, I understand there's a bunch of quiet leaders on the team, but really you got to take the bull by the horns here and really will this team into some better play.
Yeah, Mike Matheson, the effort's always there. I mean, the
sure.
Mistakes, he carries the puck a lot. I was surprised Marty split up the defense pairings the other night when he split up Hudson and Matheson, and that was part of the thing that was going well for the team, right? Since they brought in Carrier, they had 3 set defense pairings, and things were going really good. And then he decided to mix it up a little bit. And I'd asked him the morning skate of was it Tuesday, I guess, the game, about with Matheson playing with Hudson, if you asked him to be more defensive, responsible defensively, to let Hudson have more leeway. As I want both guys to have the freedom to do what they want to do, but they need to know Marty's, when the home run ball is there and when it's not there. He didn't mention anything about splitting them up. That was Tuesday morning. Then Tuesday night, all of a sudden they were split up. But and guys playing on the wrong. Now you got Lane Hudson playing on the wrong side. I was really surprised that he did that, because I think that part of the success there, a big part of the success we're having, were the three steady defense pairings and the four forward lines that they could roll. But now those defense pairings have to be switched up. There's no choice with Caden Guhle out. And it was interesting to see Arbor Jacki playing with Lane Hudson last night. I didn't expect to see that. I figured they'd put Matheson and Hudson back together. But Arbor Jacki, I thought, played really well last night.
Yeah, he's been quietly playing.
He played really well with David Savard, and obviously it's more ice time. He had 18 minutes last night. He'd been averaging 14 before that. But I thought he had a really good game. Like he knows his limitations now, Arbor, and his ceiling. He hasn't reached the ceiling of his potential yet, but his B game is pretty good now, and you need that to be in the NHL. And last night, I thought he was one of the best Canadiens players on the ice for most of the game. He was steady, he was solid, he was physical. He didn't try to do too much. He complimented Lane Hudson pretty well, I thought, most of the night. And Marty said after the game he was going to watch the tape and sort of see. He said he liked what he saw from behind the bench during the game, but he was going to watch to see if they're going to keep them together with that pairing. But I don't want to say I was surprised, because I like Arbor Jacki as a hockey player. I think he's got a ton of potential. He's learned to control his temper. David Savard has really had a key role in helping Arbor find his game and helping him learn how to toe the line and not take unnecessary mistakes. And he's still very effective in the offensive zone. He's got that good shot from the point. He gets it through almost all the time. He doesn't use the big slap shot all the time. He just fires it through and gets it through. So that's something I'm looking forward to see if those two stick together as a pairing, because it really was interesting to watch last night.
Yeah, he's been quietly playing some really good hockey lately, and just because the offensive numbers aren't there, because his first or second year when he came in, we're seeing this guy beat people up and wire shots from the point, and they're getting through, and he's scoring goals all of a sudden. I think the recognition isn't there. Mostly because the spotlight is on Lane Hudson all the time. And that's fair. That'll come with the territory. He's still a defenseman that's been, playing 15, 16, 17 minutes a night. But to get back to your point, they need way more out of a lot of veteran guys. And some of these guys, it's almost like they're not allowed to be criticized. And I don't know what it is, but amongst the fan base, I mean, Mike Matheson's getting all the flack in the world for that miscue against
New Jersey. That was Laine.
Exactly.
Laine said a horrible pass.
Yeah, exactly.
A horrible pass, and he got caught sort of flat-footed because the pass was so bad, and it went down the other way, and they scored. But with Laine, he does everything in slow motion. That's just the way he plays. And that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. But I mean, the power play, the Habs have had one power play in the last 3 games, which is quite remarkable. And if they're not getting power play opportunities, he's got to score 5-on-5, and that line just hasn't. With Doc and him and Newhook, it's been inconsistent to say the best.
Yeah, it's really, and you just take a look at some of these guys, and here's the thing, I know you need your best players to be your best players, but the Canadiens have really consistently night in, night out, 2 best players, and that's Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. So because those are their 2 best, and that's just the way it goes, the rest of the roster is so much more integral and important to the success of the team. So I get that Jake Evans is, call him a quote unquote 4th liner, but we know it's not. You take a look at the box score. You take a look at his stat line. It's the old Sam Mitchell meme the clip in SportsCenter from 20 years ago. You look at this guy's stat line. It goes across 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. He had 1 hit last night. Nick Suzuki -2, no shots. Yeah. I think 1 hit.
Caulfield had 2 shots and Slafkovsky had 1. 3 shots from your number 1 line. This is a team. That line has to perform for them to have any hope. They really do, and especially with Heineman out of the lineup, they have to perform. Armia and Evans haven't been the same players without Heineman out. And again, who would have thought? I've liked Emil Heineman since the first time I saw him last year at training camp.
Yeah,
and they started him last year at training camp. Day 1 at training camp, they had him on the number 1 line with Suzuki and Caulfield. Then he went down to Laval. He had that sort of freak injury. I'm a big Emil Heineman fan. I love the way this guy plays hockey. He's 100. He skates like the wind. He hits everything that he can hit. Wicked shot, and he shoots every time he has a chance to shoot it. And for people who maybe didn't appreciate him or didn't follow him that closely or watch him that closely on the ice, we're seeing now the impact him not being there has had on the team, on Jake Evans, on Yoel Armia also. He's a guy I'm really excited about moving forward with this Canadiens team. I think he's going to be a really good hockey player. And we're talking about freak injury with Caden Guhle, him too, crossing the street in Utah, gets hit by hit by a car and upper body injury. But hopefully he'll be back. They said 3 to 4 weeks when he was hurt, though it said a couple of weeks ago. But it's going to be he's not on the trip to California, so he's not close to returning yet. But again, by the time he comes back, Guhle I figure is done for the year. I mean, that's a horrible injury. I see him coming back this season. And Hyndman, hopefully we'll see him back in another week or two.
The positives, are something I've been highlighting in the last few times I've been on this podcast, and that, yes, the Canadiens are dropping games and every game matters. A game in October is just as important as a game in January, just as important as a game at the end of the season. Case in point, how many years ago was it that the Canadiens missed the playoffs? Max Domi was having a career year and they missed by 1 or 2 points, because I think Antti Niemi couldn't get them a win. As the backup. So wins are important all around, but it's who you win against and who you have to make up ground on that could be a key. And the Canadiens have 3 games against Ottawa, who just are flying right now. They used to be the butt of Canadiens jokes, and now Canadiens fans are the butt of Ottawa jokes.
Yeah, they finally got it together, the Senators.
So Ottawa looks really good, but they got 3 matchups against the Canadiens. They have 1 more matchup against Tampa Bay. They got 2 matchups against Florida. They got 1 or 2 against Buffalo. And these are the games that matter. There's games that you got to take advantage of, and frankly, all the California teams are reeling right now. So you got to take advantage of this trip. I know it's a trip that hasn't been really kind to them in the past, but these are, Grant McCagg of the Draftcast, the Sick Podcast Draftcast, tweeted last night, it's not all dark. You have 3 games that are very winnable coming up. Mm-hmm. And, I get it. With it, what was the tired excuse why it annoys me is because not only because every other team is tired, they all have grueling schedules, but it's also because we've seen this team raise expectations. And what happened at Christmas time? Right? Everyone thought, okay, they beat, I think it was Florida was the first game. They beat Florida. Okay, probably a loss coming up against Tampa, and they go into the break, and, it'll be all good. No, they beat Tampa handedly. That's why this tired excuse annoys me. And that's why fans regressing back to now posting, hitting the tankathon button and, simulate draft. It annoys me. This is a horrible, awful, depressing way to watch hockey if you're a fan, to just back into the losing zone. You had a taste of winning, and now that they lose, they're winless in 4, it's all up in smoke all of a sudden when they got significant matchups coming up. I understand they're 4 points out of a wild card spot, but there's what is there, more than 30? There's 31 games.
31 games left, yeah. But on the bright side, I mean, there were 2 points out of a wild card spot before the last 2 losses, and now they're 4 points out. So they lost 2 in a row, and they only dropped 2 points in the wild card standings. And this road trip might actually help them, as you were saying. Look what happened when they went on that road trip to Florida, and that they took off. And this is a young team, right? I mean, they got on a flight today and they went to California. If I was a 24-year-old hockey player and it's minus 20 here or whatever it was last night, and I'm flying to California, I'm pretty happy about it, right? They're going to get there today. They're going to have the night off tonight or whatever, enjoy the nice weather. Hopefully it's nice there for them. Practice tomorrow, play Sunday afternoon. So this team, I think going on the road is going to help them. I think for a young group, it's being away from home is even more fun than being at home, right? Most of them don't have kids or wives, so they're not, away from families. It's a fun time to get away. And what a beautiful time to go to California, right? Right at the end of January, early February. And hopefully they can bring that to the ice like they did when they went to Florida and when they went to Tampa on that road trip around Christmas, which usually killed this team, right? That was always a brutal road trip. And this year it was not. It was a good thing for them. So it wouldn't surprise me to see them do well. they got a taste of games meaning something. Jake Evans was talking to me a couple of weeks ago. He said it's nice to look at the standings. I haven't even looked at the standings for the last few years. You're already out of it. It doesn't really matter, right? And I don't think they want to lose that, being able to look at the standings and see that we're still in there. And management, I had a feeling the Guhle injury might be bad. We saw Marty St. Louis' reaction on the bench when he was informed about it. The TV cameras caught it. But even after the game, we're waiting outside the Canadiens locker room. Usually Jeff Gorton and Ken Hughes usually walk by while we're waiting for the doors to open. And Jeff Gorton walked by, and usually he'll nod or say hi or whatever. Yeah. And he looked like his dog just died. Like he had his head down and he just walked right past everybody and went right back to the offices in the back there. And then I said, okay, this Guhle thing probably is not good. And they want the taste. Like that was the goal, right? In the mix. That was the goal going into the season. And I'm sure on the plane ride there or tonight, if they have a team dinner, or tomorrow when Marty talks to the team, I don't think he's going to lay into them. After that game against Pittsburgh when they lost 9-2, he wasn't angry. He said he was disappointed. And I think he might be telling them again, I'm disappointed. I understand Guhle's out. I understand everything that's going on. I understand we're getting tired. The break is coming. If we can win 3 out of these next 4 games, we're right back. We're in the mix. Like we're really in the mix. We get a week off, go to the beach. A good thing for the Canes. Only 3 guys are playing in the Four Nations tournament. They're all going to get a break. So this is really important. And I'm sure Marty's going to stress to that, saying, I'm disappointed the effort against Minnesota. But we're not out of it. Like if we can win 3 out of these 4 games this week, and it's not impossible, they're right there again. And if they don't, if they lose 3 out of 4, there's going to be not just too many points to pick up, but too many teams between them.
Yes.
And so, you can win and not gain ground. Right. And so this is a really, as Marty said the other day, the next game is our most important game all the time now. Every game, the next game is the most important game. And now the next game, Anaheim is the most important game for them this season.
But that's it, and I'm just sick of hearing fans, posting up their mock drafts and already cheering on the tank is back on. Well, the tank is back on. It's every year there's going to be another prospect. There's going to be another.
They've already got Vago coming next season. You're going to have Michael Hage. I imagine he'll probably go back for 1 more year at the University of Michigan. You got Jacob Fowler coming. There's lots of guys coming up. You got Logan May who's still playing. Owen Beck, we got a little look at him. The Tankathon thing, they've got a lot of young talent coming up.
It's insufferable.
Now they need to learn. Now they need to. That's why the goal was to play meaningful games into March and April, and that's still the goal for this team. And the injury to Guhle is really going to be interesting to see is what do they do now at the trade deadline?
Yeah. Because what?
Do they try and bring in another veteran defenseman? Maybe on an expiring contract to try and replace him, to try and give him that little bump, like Carrier give them that little bump going through. And I wouldn't be surprised if right now they're looking at that to see if they can bring in maybe a veteran guy to come in and solidify the blue line again the way that Carrier did.
And you know what? They have 6 or 7 picks in the first 3 rounds. I don't think they're going to be giving up first-round picks. No. But you could give up a second-round pick for a guy. That's not really a high price to pay.
No, you don't. They just need a veteran guy who can eat some minutes and stabilize things, like exactly what Carrier did.
Exactly, and I think they will do that because. It's like you said, the management had the taste of meaningful games and they don't want to lose that. Plus, I get it. You can't, the message you're sending to the team if you don't do anything at this point is number 1 defenseman went down. See you in training camp, fellas. Have a good one. We'll talk during the summer for contracts and whatnot, but see ya. You can't send that message to your locker. No. You got to send the message now more than ever. Before it was you need to reward them. Now you need, but with the week they just had, now you need to back your guys up.
Yeah.
Because not making a move, it's very clear, and I think the Canadiens know it themselves, that the answer to their issues right now, especially the added one of Guhle, it's not in the locker room. It's not, and it's not in Laval. No. So you need to do something for this team to boost that morale.
Yep.
Because morale just seems like it's almost right back in square one. After 9-2 against Pittsburgh, it's just the way they're talking.
And fan morale too, right? Fan morale will start dropping. I mean, fans are so excited about this team to start the season. Then it went down. Then it went up. Now it's going down again. So also for fan morale, just to get fans thinking that they can be in the mix. They're like, there's 30 games left. It's still a lot of hockey left to be played. Said every game, the next game is this important game all the way through. And I'd be surprised if they don't do something to try and give them a little bump for the rest of the
season. And it's easier said than done that going on a little run could fix all of this. But and I get it that it may not seem realistic. Go take a look, to the fans listening and watching. Go take a look at the New York Islanders. They were dead to rights.
Yeah.
Done. Bottom of the conference. Fini. And now all of a sudden they're 8-2 in their last. We weren't talking about them as the team's chasing.
Tied with the Canadiens in a game in hand. Yeah.
But that's it. We weren't talking about them as one of those teams, in the mix, chasing around. But one of the teams that's going to be going up, down, sideways in the standings. No. But they've inserted themselves there. That's another team inserting themselves into the mix because it's there for the taking. Things are still up for grabs, and I know it's tough to imagine. But again, Tampa Bay is in a wild card spot. Yeah. Ottawa can't seem to stop winning. So. Yeah. Tampa Bay is going to be in that wild card mix. That means, I think their last game or second to last game before the Four Nations break is the one against Tampa Bay. That game is significant on so many levels, or it can be significant on so many levels if you just get it together a little bit. So I think that they're going to do something. It would just send a horrible, horrible message to the team and to the fans if they don't do anything. And it's not even a panic move. It doesn't have to be. And for people saying, the other team's going to take advantage. What are they going to squeeze an extra 4th round pick? Who cares? It's a 4th round pick. You want to play in the.
And want to make it. Gordon and Hughes are still looking big picture. They're not going to give up something that's going to hurt them. They gave up Justin Barron to get Alexandre Carrier. And Justin Barron hasn't really done much in Nashville, right? And they have lots of prospects. They have all these picks. Kent Hughes said it. I guess it was his midseason use conference. They're not going to use all these picks they have. They can't, right? You only have so many contracts you can sign guys to. But they have lots of stuff that other teams will be interested in. A team that's out of the playoffs, and as I said, out of the playoffs, has a veteran defenseman looking to dump him off and get something for him before the end of the season. That's what I think they're looking. They're not looking to bring in some defenseman who's going to be another Lane Hudson or something like that. They're looking for another Alex Harrier. Yeah,
exactly. And that could be all the Canadiens really need, because you have guys who, all with all due respect, you have Jaden Struble back in the lineup eating up 15 minutes. When a player like Guhle goes down, you kind of want to balance out minutes. You don't want to be just dumping on more onto Mike Matheson and Lane Hudson's plates.
And Jack going from 14 to 18. But again, no matter what they do on defense, that number one line has to be their best line. And that number 2 line's got to do something. Like Patrick Laine's got to start scoring. And Newhook's got to start doing more.
I was going to say Alex Newhook did next to nothing last night also.
Yeah, because that's those 2 lines, Dvorak, Gallagher, and Anderson. Anderson had 5 shots last night. Anderson had a really good year. I mentioned Brendan Gallagher's working. Brendan Gallagher could have 3 goals easily in the last 2 games. He's had a lot of chances, just can't put him in. Dvorak, Laine last night had a 2-on-1 and he passed to Dvorak, or tried to pass to Dvorak, and it was broken up. I'm like, what are you doing? You shoot puck.
But it's just simple.
Shoot, look up. It's Christian Dvorak. I'm going to shoot. Especially Patrick Laine.
Yeah. Anyways, to move on, some good news. The NHL and NHLPA have this is from Elliot Friedman. The NHL and NHLPA have released cap estimates for the next 3 seasons. Next season, I think the cap is 87 million right now.
88 going up to 99.5.
So next year it's going to be 95.5.
88 to 95.5. Yeah, 7.5.
And the year after that, $104, so a $9 million bump. And the year after that, $113.5.
Yeah.
So, couple things here. One, how good does Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Uri Slavkovsky, who has also, he's been pretty good lately.
4.8 or whatever he's getting.
Caden Guhle, if he could stay healthy. How good do all these contracts look?
Mm-hmm.
They look incredible.
Yep.
That's one side of it. The next side of it is, do you think that this could change things for the Canadiens in terms of their plans? Now, I understand they want to build a sustainable winner for many years to come, but going from 88 to 95, that's $7 million, if my math is right, in 1 year. That's not just, back in the day when it went from 80 million to 81.2.
Yeah.
That's not that. That's $7 million. It's a lot of change. So do you think that this could potentially not change plans, but maybe Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes take a look at things and they reevaluate, maybe we weren't anticipating the cap going up $7 million. We could take a swing at a superstar right now. The team has shown that, it's a good team, but we're lacking depth. What would bringing in a superstar do? It would force someone that's playing on our first or second line play a little bit lower in the lineup. And when you have second line quality guys playing on the third line, there's your recipe for success.
Yeah, Nick Suzuki makes 7.875, right? So it's going up 7.5 million. So that almost covers all of Nick Suzuki's salary.
Mm-hmm.
What goes up? So you can bring in another Nick Suzuki, right? Or another player at that same price. And the Habs need to spend that money on like one guy. That extra money. They need a guy, they need to bring in Christian Dvorak's going to be gone after, at this point, take
foregone conclusion.
Whatever you can get at the trade deadline, you take it if you can trade him. And if you can't trade him, you just look at it that his contract's off the books next year, and that's good enough right there. So with his contract off the books, so 4 point whatever it is, and another one that's 11 million, you got $11.5 million there to go at. So you can get a $7 million player and a $4 million player you can add. And that's what this team needs. Now they need more offense up front, and they need more depth on the blue line.
Yeah, so
they have a lot of young guys coming up.
I think it's interesting. I think it's super interesting because they have those cheap contracts coming up. That is
exactly.
That's gold to entry level deals are gold to contenders.
And good news, David Reinbacher practiced with the team this week, right? Non-contact jersey, but he's ahead of schedule. They said 5 to 6 months when he had surgery on October 1st. So he's ahead of schedule. So even if he doesn't play for the Canadiens this season, just to get him in Laval and get him some playing time and have him come to training camp next season with some games under his belt and hopefully feeling healthy and his knee recovered. You got him, you got Logan Mailloux, you got a lot of young guys coming up, a lot of young talent coming up. This team on forward and defense. Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton done a great job of filling the cupboards with prospects and draft picks. But again, they haven't reached the point. They're a couple of years away from having the depth where the injuries are having right now won't have the impact that they're having.
I don't have the same impact and influence as our colleague Tony Marinaro does, but I think it's a little too early to start pounding the table with this news of today of go out and get Mikko Rantanen. That'd be a good start. Mm-hmm. I think it's a little too early, but just as a side note, how bad does Colorado look with this news coming out today and giving up a 100-point player, back-to-back 100-point player for, Martin Nichas is a good player, but he's not Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah.
Just with this news of it going up $7 million and then going up even more, you kind of don't have to worry about, Rantanen and Makar trying to do Tetris and make it work.
Mm-hmm. But I imagine the GMs have I don't think this came out of left field for them today.
Yeah, they must have an idea.
I'm sure there must be contact with the NHL head office and Bettman, letting GMs know roughly what they think the cap's going to be moving forward. Right? It's part of the business, right? These guys, they compete against each other, these GMs. At the NHL is one business, right? So they're trying to. I'd be really surprised if the GMs didn't have an idea that this was coming down the road. I don't think it just came to, oh my God, the salary cap's going up $7.5 million next year. They were probably given an idea of a rough estimate of what it was going to be.
Yeah, I know. It's just when you give up a 100-point player who, I don't know, what a fascinating story. He's saying that he was willing to talk, but Colorado wasn't willing to play ball, but Colorado said he wasn't willing to play ball. And
it sounds like Max Pacioretty's situation, right? Or Radulov. We had a lot of that here when Mark Bergevin was GM with he said thing going on. Yeah, that's not a good sign when you start hearing stuff like that.
Yeah. Anyways,
somewhere in the middle is the truth.
Exactly. It's in between the two extremes is often where where the truth is found. Just back to the Canadiens, before we wrap up. So rare no Saturday game, which is
Sunday afternoon game,
which is today was the travel day, correct, for the Canadiens?
Yeah, they flew today.
Yeah. So I think I remember it was a couple of years ago. This is during COVID. I was bogged down by working nonstop and crappy weather outside, COVID, you can't go anywhere. There's nothing to do. And then I remember I booked a flight to Florida, and the second I landed at Fort Lauderdale Airport and I went outside and the ray of sunshine hit me in the face.
Great feeling, huh?
You feel it. And I hope tomorrow, I don't know what time the Canadiens landed, if they landed yet, or what their schedule is, but I hope tomorrow, if they didn't get the chance today, weather permitting, of course, take a beach day. Go to the beach. No, walk up Venice Beach. Nobody's going to recognize you, unless there's a stray Montrealer on their vacation.
They're going to practice at some point tomorrow, but it really is even just myself covering the team when I was traveling with them, it's just that. This is the perfect time of the year to go down south. It's the perfect time to go somewhere and it's hard coming back. I remember one day I had an afternoon flight coming back from Fort Lauderdale at the end of the Florida trip, and I got up that morning and walked the beach, and it was like 28 degrees and it was sunshine. It was just beautiful, bare feet walking along the ocean. Stopped and had breakfast on a terrace. Got back in the car, drove to the airport, flew home, and it was minus 22.
Did you have your
same day, right? But I'm sure, and I mentioned that earlier. I think for this young team, I imagine if they don't have a team dinner tonight, the guys will go out somewhere, have a nice dinner, walk around, shorts, sandals, enjoy the nice weather, get rejuvenated a little bit. And I'd be surprised if they don't come out ready to play on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
really
but I think what?
I said they're running out of gas, and what better way for anybody, whatever job you do. I mean, this, today's January 31st. It feels like January 300th, right? Like this, it's like it never ends, right? It just drags on, and the weather's been lousy, and it's cold, and it's miserable. They've been losing. I think you're 100% right. I think when they got off the plane, I didn't check to see what the weather was like today in California, but you get off the plane and you feel that sun and you feel that warmth, and you put on shorts and sandals and you walk around. And I think it's really good timing for the Canadiens to get this trip. Sure beats going to Winnipeg.
Oh my God, yeah. Or Edmonton, or Calgary, or that's rough sledding.
I've done that road trip too in the middle of winter. That's not fun.
Yeah, that's that should really mean home, home field or home ice advantage really means something over there, especially when you're a California team going over there. That would how do you think they feel? But yeah, I think the Canadiens, they should be ready to play. They should be. How many times have we said, though? Again, to bring it back, how many times have we said, I'd be shocked if they didn't come ready to play? Frankly, a lot of games. They haven't played a lot, even in that stretch of 15-3-2 or whatever it was. They did not play a full 60 minutes. Very seldom played a full 60 minutes. I'm still waiting to see that. I need them to be playing a full 60 minutes, because that, more than anything, just coming out and scoring the first goal. How about that? Come out and score the first goal. They did it against Winnipeg, and then Winnipeg took over because that's top of the league. That's the top, that's cream of the crop in the NHL. It'll happen. But I think they really gotta, find it within themselves against a team like Anaheim, a team that, they barely scraped by when they were in the Bell Center. Barely scraped by. They won 3-2 in a shootout against, the Canadiens at that point were one of the worst teams in the league, and so was Anaheim. The difference is now Anaheim is still one of the worst teams in the league, and the Canadiens proved that they're not a basement dweller.
Yeah, that's a fun week, as you said, going to California. And then they come back and they got the Super Bowl weekend games, which are always fun, right? Those are always, you got New Jersey on the Saturday, Tampa on the Sunday. They're always fun games to be at the Bell Center. They're fun games to play. The afternoon games, lots of kids in the building, great atmosphere. So this week's gonna make or break them. It really is. They're either gonna go into the Four Nations break on a high, thinking we accomplished what we wanted to do, or in the mix, or on a real low because they had that taste of it, right? That taste of being there. And you were mentioning earlier, you're tired of fans like doing the tankathon and the lottery. The players are tired of it too. The players are tired of, oh yeah, we're going to, where are they going to finish last? And they're tired of hearing fans say, oh, tank and lose. Players want to win. Like they really do. And I think they've seen how excited the city got when they're on that little roll here. And they've fallen off, but it happens with every team. You're talking about the Islanders; they got back in by going on that run. Well, the Canadiens got back in by going on that run before them, right? They've had a little bit of an off down. The injury, Caden Guhle's not coming back. Heineman's not coming back for a while, but they've got to get within them. They have enough there to compete a lot better than they did against Minnesota. That was a horrible hockey game. That's one of those things I'm sitting in the press box going, thank God I'm getting paid to watch this, because I hate to be the guy sitting in the stands who paid $300 for a ticket.
The last time, just finishing up here, is the last time I can remember the Canadiens going into the third period with 8 shots. It probably happened a couple times under Dominic Ducharme, but I was in the crowd. I'll never forget this. Stu, I never leave games early.
Yeah.
I don't always stay for the 3 stars, but I wait for that buzzer to go. And I believe it was either against Carolina or this is a long time ago. I'm talking like maybe 2018. It was against Carolina or against Washington. The Canadiens had 5 shots on goal. They were heading into the third period down 5-0 with 5 shots on goal. I looked at my uncle and I said, F this, I'm leaving. And he stayed. He told me, he texted me after. I said, thank you very much. It's very nice of you to bring me, but F this, I'm out. And he texted me, yeah, I left 5 minutes into the third period too.
There was nights at the end of the Dominic Ducharme here, I wish I could have just left the press box and I'd have to write.
Yeah. But, anyway,
but I mean, they've been fun to watch most of this season. They've competed hard, and they went on that really remarkable run they went on. And as I said, they've had a tail off, and it'll be interesting to see if they can bounce back. And I think they're set up well to bounce back this week for the reasons we just discussed, with the nice weather, getting on the road again with all the young guys, hanging out together, continuing to build that bond that they have. They got 2 goalies that can give them a chance to win when they play. So there's reason for hope going into this week that it's not over yet. As Marty said, we're trying to survive until the Four Nations break. Well, this is the survival of the fittest right now this week.
You want to see a bunch of fans get pissed off? Put up 2 duds in a row against LA and San Jose with 10:30 p.m. starts, forcing people to stay up to watch those games. Yeah. So I wonder if that plays into it. Anyways, but first, it's Anaheim on Sunday. Rare Saturday off for Stu Cowan. So
it's gonna be different. Yeah, my wife will be home on a Saturday night. Maybe she won't be happy.
That's it. So Stu, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your first Saturday off, probably since the off season. Yeah. And as always, enjoy Sunday. Enjoy the hockey on Sunday, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, not too many Saturdays off on this job, so I'm looking forward to it.
There you go, Stu. Thank you very much. That was Stu Cowan. I'm Matt Ohayon. For producer Shane, we'll catch you next time.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. Bittt, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.